sun was already high over Baghdad when the city began to hum with life. Merchants lifted the shutters of their shops. The smell of fresh bread drifted through the narrow streets. The city was wealthy, beautiful, and proud, the heart of the Abbasid Empire. Yet beneath its golden domes, ordinary people whispered about taxes, power, and fear. In those days there lived a man named Behlol ibn Amr, respected for his honesty and intelligence. He was not rich, but he was known in the city for settling disputes fairly. His house was small, his clothes simple, but his words carried weight. Every morning, Behlol sat under a fig tree near the market, listening to those who came to him for advice. To the poor, he was a friend. To the merchants, a judge. To the scholars, sometimes a challenger. He had a way of asking questions that left people thinking long after they had walked away. That morning, an old man approached him with trembling hands. "Behlol," he said, "my neighbor owes me gold and refuses to pay. He swears before God that he does not owe me anything." Behlol looked at him calmly. "Then swear before God that you lent it," he said. "I already did," the old man replied. Behlol smiled faintly. "Then God has heard you both. If your neighbor lies, his gold will burn heavier on his soul than it would have in your pocket." The old man frowned, then nodded slowly. There was something about Behlol's answers, simple, yet deep. Later that evening, as the call to prayer echoed across the city, Behlol walked past the great palace of Caliph Harun al-Rashid. Its marble gates gleamed in the fading light. Inside, ministers and poets gathered to flatter the ruler, each hoping for favor. Behlol was not one of them, though he had once been welcomed there. The Caliph respected his knowledge of law and occasionally asked for his counsel. But Behlol had a tongue too honest for the comfort of rulers. The next day, a messenger arrived at his door. "The Caliph summons you," he said. Behlol sighed. He knew this might be one of those days when truth would be costly. Inside the palace, the court glittered. Silk robes rustled, incense filled the air. Harun al-Rashid sat on a golden chair, his eyes sharp and restless. "Behlol," he said, "I hear that you spend your days among beggars and shopkeepers, speaking as if you were wiser than my scholars. Tell me, what is the duty of a ruler?" Behlol bowed slightly. "To be just, your majesty, to protect the weak from the powerful, and not the other way around." A murmur ran through the court. The caliph's eyes narrowed. "And do you think I am unjust?" Behlol chose his words carefully. "I think a ruler must ask that question every day, even when the answer is yes." The room went silent. Some ministers exchanged nervous glances. Harun al-Rashid's face hardened. "Your words walk a dangerous road, Behlol." "Truth always does," Behlol said softly. The caliph leaned forward. "You speak like a prophet, but you are a judge. Remember your place." Behlol's eyes met his. "And you speak like a king, but you will one day stand before a greater one." A wave of shock swept through the hall. No one had ever spoken to the caliph like that. The guards tensed, waiting for his order. For a long moment, Harun said nothing. Then he turned away and waved his hand. "Leave us," he said coldly, "before your wisdom becomes your ruin." Behlol bowed and walked out slowly. But as he stepped into the sunlight, he knew that his words had drawn a line between him and the palace. A line that could not be erased. That night he could not sleep. He thought of the caliph's face, the fear and pride hidden in his eyes. He thought of the poor who lived outside the palace walls, and how truth was a flame that could burn both the liar and the one who spoke it. He whispered to himself, "If I keep speaking as I do, they will silence me. But if I stay silent, my heart will die." Then in the quiet of his room, he began to laugh, a strange, broken laugh that startled even him. It was the laugh of a man who had found a dangerous kind of freedom. Morning crept over Baghdad like a slow-moving river of light. The call to prayer faded, replaced by the sounds of traders opening their shops. Somewhere in the narrow streets, Behlol walked without direction. His mind raced faster than his feet. The air smelled of bread and dust. Children chased one another past him, laughing. A beggar rattled a bowl near the mosque gate. For a moment, the city felt normal. And yet, for Behlol, nothing was normal anymore. The caliph's warning still echoed in his head. "Before your wisdom becomes your ruin." He had spoken truth and survived, but he knew that the walls of power had long memories. In Baghdad, a man could lose his life over a single sentence. And that evening, Behlol returned home. His sister Layla met him at the door. "You look troubled, brother," she said. He smiled faintly. "I argued with the wind today and the wind won." She frowned. "You shouldn't provoke the caliph's court." Their smiles are sharp as swords, I know, he replied. That's why I'll stop fighting them. She looked surprised. Stop? You, of all people? Yes, Behlol said, staring into the flickering lamplight. But not in the way you think. The decision. That night, he sat awake until the moon hung high above the rooftops. He thought of prophets who had been mocked, of saints who had been jailed, of men who had tried to speak truth to power and paid for it with their lives. If wisdom was a curse, perhaps madness could be a blessing. If sanity was a prison, perhaps freedom lay in foolishness. When dawn broke, Behlol wrapped himself in an old wool cloak and walked to the city square. He found a broken clay bowl lying in the dust and placed it on his head like a crown. Then he began to laugh, loud, wild, endless laughter that echoed through the market. How'd the streets react? Look at Behlol, someone shouted. The judge has gone mad. A crowd gathered. Children pointed and giggled. Behlol staggered through the street, waving a stick like a scepter. I am king, he cried. A king with no throne, no gold, and no guards. I'm the freest king in the world. The merchants laughed. Some pitied him. Others whispered that the Caliph had driven him mad, but Behlol didn't care. For the first time in years, he spoke without fear. He stopped by a bakery where the owner was shouting at a poor boy for stealing bread. Behlol leaned on his stick. Give him the loaf, he said in a playful tone. The baker frowned. He's a thief. Behlol tilted his head. And you, my friend, are a baker who keeps the hungry hungry, which is worse. The baker hesitated. The crowd stared. The boy ran off with the bread. Behlol grinned and muttered to himself, even a fool can feed the hungry. Rumors in the palace. By afternoon, the story reached the Caliph's ears. Harun al-Rashid sat with his advisors, frowning. Behlol the judge has lost his mind, one minister said. He walks the streets laughing at everyone. The Caliph raised an eyebrow, or perhaps he pretends, another advisor scoffed. A madman cannot pretend. Harun smiled slightly. This one can. I know his kind. Keep watch on him, but do not harm him. Madness may teach more than reason. The beggar's friend days passed. Behlol no longer lived in his house. He slept where the night found him, under bridges, beside wells, in abandoned courtyards. He became a friend to the poor, the stray dogs, and the street children. To them, he was funny, sometimes strange, but never cruel. He shared what little food he found, told stories that made them laugh and think. One boy asked him, Behlol, why do you act crazy? He smiled. Because only the crazy can speak truth in a world that fears it. The boy frowned. Isn't that lonely? Behlol looked at the sky. Not as lonely as being wise among the proud. A lesson for a merchant. One afternoon, a rich merchant spotted him sitting on the ground, drawing circles in the dust. Behlol, he said mockingly, tell me, how much is your madness worth today? Behlol looked up, eyes sparkling. More than your greed, the merchant laughed. Greed builds palaces. And wisdom, Behlol replied, builds souls. Tell me, which lasts longer? The merchant fell silent. For a moment, the street noise faded. Then Behlol burst into laughter again and walked away, leaving the man staring after him. And that night, Behlol sat by the riverbank watching the moon ripple on the water. He whispered to himself, the palace thinks I'm mad, the streets think I'm wise. Perhaps I am both, perhaps wisdom is madness in disguise. He picked up a pebble and tossed it into the river. Each word of truth is like this stone, he murmured. It sinks, but the ripples travel far. He leaned back, closed his eyes, and smiled, a smile of peace. In pretending to lose his mind, Behlol had found his freedom. The next weeks turned Baghdad into a stage for Behlol's strange new play. Each morning he wandered through the markets, greeting every soul with a grin that made children laugh and scholars frown. Sometimes he sang, sometimes he told riddles that made no sense until they did. Little by little, people began to wait for him. At the spice bazaar, a vendor called, Behlol, tell us today's wisdom. Behlol stopped, sniffed the air heavy with cinnamon and pepper, and said, spices lose their smell when burned, and hearts lose their kindness when burned by greed. Then he laughed, bowed, and walked on, leaving the vendor blinking as the crowd chuckled. The visit to the mosque. One Friday, Behlol entered the great mosque. The scholars sat in a circle debating the laws of inheritance, their voices full of pride. He shuffled in barefoot, his cloak torn, his wooden bowl still on his head. Behlol, one of them sneered. We are discussing the rights of sons and daughters. You would not understand, Behlol smiled. A father who leaves only gold leaves nothing. A father who leaves goodness leaves everything. The youngest scholar looked down, ashamed. The elder frowned. Your words sound simple, he said, but where is your proof? Behlol tapped his chest. Here, the proof lives where the law cannot reach. For a heartbeat, the mosque was silent. Then he laughed, turned on his heel, and left. The sound of that laugh followed him like an echo of truth. Worse, the Caliph listens. That night, the Caliph dined with his chief advisor, Yahya al-Barmaki. Tell me of Behlol, Harun said, pouring water into a silver cup. Yahya hesitated. He still roams the streets, Majesty. The people adore him. They call him the Wise Fool. Harun's eyes narrowed. A dangerous title. Fools amuse the crowd, wise men move it. Which is he? Perhaps both, Yahya replied softly. He shames the proud without lifting a sword. Harun leaned back, thoughtful. Let him be. Sometimes a mirror must hang outside the palace for the king to see his own face. A widow's cry. One evening, Behlol heard weeping near the city gate. A widow sat by the road, clutching two hungry children. My husband's debts have taken everything, she sobbed. They will sell our home. Behlol crouched beside her. How much do you owe? 3 dinars, she whispered. Behlol turned to the small crowd that had gathered. 3 dinars, the price of one fine cloak from the Caliph's tailor. Who among you will buy a mother's smile today? A merchant muttered, I have no coins. Behlol looked at him sharply. You have 2 hands, don't you? Then take them to work and pay tomorrow. Laughter rippled through the crowd, but shame followed it. Within minutes, they had given more than the debt. Behlol handed the coins to the woman and said, Do not thank me. Thank the foolishness that still remembers kindness. That night, the story spread through Baghdad like fire on dry grass. The test soon after, a proud judge decided to test Behlol. He invited him to a feast and set before him a silver tray piled with fine food. Eat, Behlol, the judge said. Let us see if wisdom feeds you. Behlol sat, sniffed the dish, then took a handful of plain bread from his pocket and began eating that instead. The judge laughed. Why not taste my food? It's fit for kings, Behlol looked up. Then it is not fit for me. The laughter died. The judge frowned. Explain yourself. Behlol said, Food cooked in pride always leaves the stomach empty. Bread earned honestly fills it. He finished his meal, stood and bowed with exaggerated grace. Thank you for proving that taste is not found in spices but in sincerity. The guest stared, half offended, half amazed, as he walked out humming to himself. A night by the river later, Behlol sat again by the Tigris. The moon floated like a coin on the dark water. A fisherman nearby complained, I catch nothing. God has forgotten me. Behlol smiled. Perhaps he remembers you too well. Maybe he keeps your net empty so your heart doesn't drown in gold. The fisherman blinked, then laughed softly. You're mad, but your madness feeds the soul. Behlol nodded. Then may my madness never heal. The whisper of change. By now, the city that once mocked him began to listen. Children repeated his sayings. Traders quoted his jokes. Even scholars pretended not to learn from him while secretly admiring his wit. He had become what he never planned to be. A teacher without a school, a preacher without a pulpit. One evening, as he walked through the narrow alleys, a man called after him, Behlol, do you ever miss your old life? Your home? Your respect? Your place beside the Caliph? Behlol paused, eyes soft. Respect can be taken, home can burn, but peace lives where truth is spoken. Why would I miss chains? He turned away, disappearing into the twilight, his laughter fading into the hum of the city. The morning air over Baghdad was heavy with dust and rumor. Word had reached the palace Behlol had mocked a governor in the street. Some said he called the man a donkey. Others said he made the donkey a governor. Either way, the tale spread like wildfire. Harun al-Rashid frowned when he heard it. He toys with power, the Caliph said. Bring him to me, but gently. I want to look into his madness myself. The summons. 2 guards found Behlol sitting near the city well, tossing pebbles and talking to a stray dog. The commander of the faithful summons you, they said. Behlol squinted at them. Which one? I've met many commanders today, each commanding others but not themselves. The guards exchanged glances, uncertain whether to laugh or drag him. Finally, they led him, dusty and smiling, through the palace gates. The marble halls glowed with candlelight. Courtiers whispered as Behlol passed. Silk brushed against stone. He bowed with mock formality before the Caliph's throne. "Peace on you, O King of the world," he said, "and peace on me, the King of the fools." The test begins. Harun studied him. "Behlol, do you truly believe yourself a king?" Behlol spread his arms. "Of course, look at my crown." He pointed to his cracked clay bowl. "It is lighter than gold and never tempts thieves." The court burst into laughter. Even the Caliph's mouth twitched.
"Then tell me, King of the fools," Harun said, "if you are so wise, what is the worth of my throne?" Behlol walked slowly toward the golden seat, circled it, then tapped it with his stick.
"Its worth depends on who sits upon it. When justice sits here, it is a stairway to heaven. When tyranny sits here, it is a ladder to hell." The laughter died. The room fell still. Harun's eyes darkened. "Careful, Behlol. You speak dangerously." Behlol bowed. "Danger is my only audience, Majesty." The Caliph's challenge. Harun gestured to a chest beside him. "Here is gold. Take what you wish and cease your riddles." Behlol opened the chest, looked at the glittering coins, then shut it again. "I cannot take what already belongs to me," he said. The Caliph raised an eyebrow. "How so?" Behlol smiled. "The gold of this world belongs to all men. You are merely its keeper until judgment. A wise keeper does not count what he cannot carry into the grave." The court whispered. One minister muttered, "This man mocks the throne." Harun raised his hand for silence. "Tell me, Behlol," he said, "why do you pretend to be mad?" Behlol's voice softened. "Because sanity cannot speak safely in palaces. Madness is a cloak that keeps truth warm." The mirror moment. Harun leaned forward. "And what truth hides beneath your cloak today?" Behlol met his gaze. "That kings fear mirrors more than swords. You sit surrounded by praise, yet none dare show you your own reflection." He picked up a bronze tray and tilted it so that the Caliph's face shimmered in its curve. "See, even metal trembles before power." For a heartbeat, the Caliph's expression wavered between anger and admiration. Then he began to laugh, a slow, genuine laugh that filled the hall. "You win, Behlol," he said. "Your madness is wiser than our wisdom." Behlol bowed low. "Then let your wisdom become mad for one day, Majesty. Walk your streets without guards, and you'll learn more of your kingdom than your ministers tell you in a year." Harun smiled. "Perhaps I shall." After the court. When Behlol left the palace, the guards watched him with new respect. Outside, the evening wind carried the smell of jasmine and river mud. He stopped beneath the same fig tree where he once judged quarrels long ago. Children gathered around him again. "Did the Caliph punish you?" one asked. Behlol laughed. "He gave me a gift instead." "What gift?" Behlol tapped his heart. "The chance to stay free." He leaned back against the tree, gazing at the stars. "Some chains are made of gold," he whispered, "and some crowns are invisible." Then, as always, he laughed, a laugh that belonged to no one but him. Dawn spilled over the rooftops of Baghdad, quiet and pale. The city woke to the rhythm of merchants calling, pigeons fluttering, and the river whispering beyond the walls. Among the noise walked Behlol, still barefoot, still smiling, the same cracked bowl resting like a crown upon his head. To most, he was a fool who refused to heal. To a few, he was something else, proof that truth sometimes wears rags. And the boy and the bread. Near the old market, a young boy sat crying beside a fallen basket of bread. A crowd circled him, scolding. Behlol pushed through and crouched down. "Why tears, little one?" "They took my bread," the boy sobbed, "and said I was careless." Behlol picked up a broken loaf and handed it back. "You lost bread, but not your hands bake again. As long as you can work, fortune can be rebuilt." He winked. "Besides, crying salts the dough too much." The crowd laughed, the boy smiled, Behlol walked on. The scholar's question. Later that day, a learned man stopped him outside the mosque. "Behlol, I have studied books for 20 years, he said, "yet I feel empty." "What have you studied to gain such peace?" Behlol grinned. "I studied people. They are harder to read and quicker to change the subject." The scholar frowned. "And your conclusion?" "That books teach words," Behlol said, "but people teach silence." He tapped the man's chest gently. "The longest journey is from the mind to the heart. Walk it slowly." The scholar bowed, speechless. A visit in the night. That night, a lone rider came to the fig tree where Behlol slept. It was the Caliph himself, cloaked and unguarded. Behlol opened one eye. Ah, the traveler of thrones. Did my madness infect you? Harun laughed softly. Perhaps. I walked my city tonight as you advised. I saw hunger, pride, and love all in one street. Behlol sat up. Then you have seen your kingdom. Harun nodded. I owe you thanks. Behlol waved a hand. Keep it. Thanks are heavy to carry. Instead, promise to remember what you saw when you sit again upon your golden chair. I will, said the Caliph. He hesitated, then asked, Tell me truly, Behlol, are you happy? Behlol looked at the stars. Happiness is like that light, he said. It belongs to everyone, yet no one can keep it. I do not chase it, I walk beneath it. Harun smiled, touched his heart in respect, and rode away into the dark. And the legacy days turned into months. Sometimes Behlol was seen talking to stray dogs, other times debating children or laughing at the sky. When people mocked him, he bowed. When they thanked him, he vanished. But everywhere he went, small changes followed. A merchant forgave a debt, a judge reconsidered a verdict, a beggar shared his bread. The wise began to record his sayings, the poets began to repeat his jokes. Soon even travelers from Persia and Damascus came asking, Where is the fool who speaks like a saint? And Baghdad would answer with a smile, Follow the laughter. The final reflection. One evening, as the sun bled red over the river, Behlol sat alone on the bridge. He watched his reflection tremble on the water and said quietly, I once wanted to change the world with wisdom. Now I change hearts with madness. Perhaps they are the same thing. He threw his stick into the current and listened to it drift away. Behind him, the city glowed in gold and shadow, just as it had the day he began. He laughed one last time, not out of mockery, but out of gratitude. For he had lost everything the world values and found everything the soul needs.